Back in 2016, Elon Musk promised that by the end of the year, there would be a fully autonomous cross-country drive in a Tesla vehicle. It didn't happen. So in 2017, he said, this is the year it's going to happen, except it didn't. But in 2018, that was the year. So when I bought my Model 3 in 2018, I paid $8,000 for the autopilot suite as well as Tesla full self-driving. But 2018 came and went, and 2019, and 2020. And when I sold my car in mid-2021, full self-driving did not seem any closer. So I did not pay for it on my new Model Y. Not just because, well, I didn't think it was coming, but because it now costs $12,000. But then, of course, Elon said, well, Quinn sold his car, so let's release it. Kind of. The beta has been out for about 4 or 5 months now, and I've actually been in since the beginning because I'm paying for a full self-driving subscription. I've been in the beta. I've driven this promised fully autonomous car. And in this video, I want to show you what it does really well and the many, many, many things that it needs to improve on before we're going to see it anywhere near public release. In 2022, we have a lot of EV content planned, not just on the Tesla Model Y, but on the Kia EV6, the Rivian R1T and R1S, even my 2012 Coda EV, amongst others. And over the last few years, we've been using these, the GoPro Hero 7 Black. They're fine. I've never really loved the quality. I bought them on a whim because we needed to shoot a Tesla review, and I've used them since. There are new ones, but they're only marginally better. Like this has the same sensor as the newest one. And so when Insta360 reached out asking if they could sponsor this video, I said, well, send me the camera first. And now that I've tried it, I've actually purchased 2 more of these. They are awesome because this is antithetical to the GoPro system. This is fully modular. So check this out. I've got a battery, I've got a main core unit, and I've got a camera. And not only is there one camera, but there's multiple options. There's a 360 camera, there's a 1-inch sensor camera. You can configure these however I want. I can point the screen towards me, away from me. I can use a big battery, a small battery. These are so cool. And you're gonna see some of the footage and some of the capabilities in this video. But without further ado, let's get in and do some full self-driving. Let's begin. Okay, I have formulated an excellent route with 8 different waypoints. They give us a nice combination of basic and complicated city driving, basic and complicated neighborhood driving, and it's 9:30 a.m., which means we're stopping for breakfast because I'm hungry. And it also means that while the rush hour traffic has died down, there is going to be a little bit of traffic. The roads are not empty. Okay, to put the car into autopilot, you just double tap on the driving stalk, which I'm going to do now. Now, for the duration of this drive, my hands will be on the steering wheel and my feet will be above the pedal just so that I can intervene if I need to. But unless I say otherwise, the car is doing everything, including stopping right here for reasons that I do not understand. If you're looking at the Insta360 video and think, oh, that looks awesome. That is its active HDR. It's really struggling with these pedestrians. The car freaks out whenever there's people. It's because it wants the people to be safe, and that's good, but it makes them confusing decisions. But as you'll notice, the Insta360 looks awesome right now, where in the cabin it's pretty dark, and then ahead and outside it's really, really, really bright. Okay, so, all right, good job. The car always tries to stay rightmost when it knows it needs to turn right, which is right here, and it just drove through a bunch of parking spots rather than through the actual lane. However, you'll notice that it's just sitting here. This is a problem. We're sitting in a bike lane. We're blocking it, but you'll notice that the lines are all broken up here. And that's because if you're turning right, you're supposed to go over the bike lanes. Now, this is a weird instance, I'll admit it. But it's an instance where the car should know what to do, and it doesn't. And yeah, maybe it's a, whatever they call them. All the Tesla fanboys call them like a fringe scenario. But there are a lot of different scenarios like this where cities are just weird and every city's different and it doesn't know how to work with our bike lanes at all. Okay, now the car needs to get over left really fast into this left-hand turn lane starting right now. And it's really not going to do it. That's too slow. Oh my gosh. Okay, there's no one behind me, but that is Class A bad driving. It should have sped up, got over, and then made the turn, then slowed down rather than slow down right in the middle. Made that left turn pretty good. Now we're entering construction, and I won't be surprised if the car freaks out. Not bad. Now there's a crosswalk with a pedestrian, and you can see the car kind of freaks out and slows down, and then it speeds back up. Oh, there's a lot of stop and go. This is not comfortable, but technically it hasn't done anything illegal yet. Okay, it's now going through this intersection, and it does that pretty nicely. Good job. Okay, now that we're kind of in a clearly defined lane and there's not much action happening, it's actually quite good. This is autopilot. And so if you've ever driven a car with autopilot, you know that it's pretty good at staying in lines. And that's the thing that the car really does well. As long as there's defined markings, it's actually a really comfortable drive. I have no problem with this at all. I mean, the road sucks. I'll have to see how good the flow state stabilization is on the Insta360 because this car be shaken. Now, you'll notice that there's a car up here parked on the side of the road, and it's actually doing so illegally. But the, oh no, there's parking there. Oh, see, look, there's a door opening. Ah! Okay. I was going to compliment the car about it generally staying out of the way when there are cars parked on the side of the road. You'll see some of that in our neighborhood examples. Okay, so that was leg one of the route complete. And let's begin leg two. So the car slowed down for that car to exit the road, and then it started signaling left and jerked the wheel, and I was holding on a little bit, so it disengaged autopilot. It's not very patient about people pulling off the road. All right, the light turned green and the car hesitated pulling forward full blast because that pedestrian was still in the middle of the street, which is excellent. Again, it prioritizes the safety of pedestrians above everything, which is good, as well it should. But sometimes the car will do dumb things that are dangerous to other cars on the road in the name of keeping pedestrians safe. Now, this is where you might notice that autopilot struggles when you have very, very, very wide lanes. The car's probably going to try and get right. Yep, because it needs to turn here, but there's a curb. So good. It sees the curb and it doesn't try to drive over it, but it does so a little late and it's a little twitchy. Okay, we are now on a wide unmarked street, and so it just drives down the middle. That's one thing that is good in some aspects, because if you have cars on the side, it really tries to stay away from them. The downside is it tends to be a bit of a hog, and so if you have traffic coming in the opposite direction, the car will often just take up the middle of the road, shoving the other cars kind of onto the side, which is a little inimeedial. It drives a little selfishly, I would say. Now here's another thing. Yep. It doesn't understand curbs and potholes or anything yet, so I had to stop because it was going to go full blast into that ditch. So we've re-entered autopilot. It's going to drive up to this stop sign, and it should stop nicely. This is an all-way stop. Keep going. Keep going. Yep. We got a little worried about that car right there, but it kept pulling forward. And stop. Okay, continuing on. The Insta360 One RS is in the 6K widescreen format, which I love. I think it looks awesome. Okay, so we're driving up a very steep hill up to a stop sign here. Now we will have to yield to traffic driving in the opposite direction. It's not an all-way stop. And the car seems to be doing that. Oh, there's a car coming. This will be the moment of truth. Yep, sees it beautifully. And now it's finally pulling forward and ready to go. Awesome. That was excellent. And we are driving up a hill, and it is going full speed ahead. Okay, this intersection is tricky. So we need to get right, which, is it going to do that? It does. Good job. And we need to yield to traffic coming uphill. So and we're not even to the bumper line. Keep pulling forward. Pull to the bumper line. Go ahead. Okay. And now it's just deciding to roll through. That's bad. It did just, yeah. That's not good. All right, now it's turning left, getting in the left-hand turn lane. Are you gonna do it? Yep. It always is very hesitant pulling up to these intersections when you're going downhill. So it should be closer, especially since we have a green right-of-way arrow, which, does it see that? Yep, it does. Good job. Okay. That turn was a little less graceful, but it still handled it nicely. Okay, This is an all-way stop. We've got to turn left. What are you doing? What are you doing? This is... that's wrong. And we've got a pedestrian. And we look very dumb. Because you're not supposed to be driving on this part. And that pedestrian's going as well. The car's yielding to them excellently. Good job. And now that there are no more people and or cars, it should go. And it does. Coming up on a stop sign, we've got a sign that says cross traffic does not stop. So we need to yield. And the car, oh my gosh. Bad. Naughty car. It just went very slowly into the middle of the road because it presumed that to be an all-way stop, and it is not. Okay. Oof. That leg was a little rough. Okay. We need to turn right at this stop sign. This is that same place. Cross traffic does not stop. So it needs to yield to people coming in the other direction. Luckily, there are none. So it just goes ahead. Woof. There's a bike lane that I don't think it saw until it's too late. That's the thing that is interesting. Again, this is a perception thing. It sees that on the cameras, but it just has trouble kind of drawing the targeted routes that it wants to take until it's kind of too late. And then when it does decide to go in the right direction, it's a little jerky. It needs to predict rather than just react. Man, it really doesn't like being told what to do either. If you like push the gas and you're like, no, go, it's like, well, what are you doing? Okay. It needs to turn right here, but it's trying to get in this lane. I do not know why. But it was violently jerking the wheel to the left, which is not correct behavior. It's stuff like this where when people say full self-driving's coming out next year, I go, no. It's not. Okay, we've got a green. And the car's just very slow to react. Okay. We are turning, good. And we changed lanes as well, which is good. Coming up on the Capitol, looking mighty fine. I bet the Capitol looks awesome on that Insta360. Especially in that 6K widescreen. Don't stop. I don't know why it's stopping. I think it's because it sees that it's an intersection, but it does not need to do that. That is bad behavior. And the guy behind us just went, sorry, we're driving with a teenager. Okay. Woo! Little speed bump right there. Full send, baby. When a vehicle appears in blue in the infotainment, it basically lets you as the end user, ooh, there's 2 left-hand turn lanes, and it's, oh, and now it's red. Yeah, I had to stop that. It was going to roll right through. That wasn't so good. Almost ran a red light. When it shows that a vehicle's blue, Benjamin's shaking his head. When it shows a vehicle's blue, it's basically telling you as the end user, like, hey, I know, just be aware that I am paying attention to that car. It usually does it when you're turning left. So oncoming traffic, when you're turning left, will appear blue. It's just letting you as the end user know, hey, I am paying attention to this. And we are in the middle of the intersection. Sorry, missionaries. They're much friendlier than I would be. Okay. It's in the leftmost lane. There's construction here. And it sees those construction cones, which is good. We'll see if it sees these barriers. It is hanging in the middle kind of here to avoid those barriers, which is actually good behavior. A little jerky, but that's good. And we're almost to breakfast. We've got 2 more lights and then we're there. All right, a good driver would have turned left at that light to pull into the Einsteins, but it's deciding to pull into the little median here. It is dotted, so we're allowed to do this. But I have to push the throttle because it doesn't ever tuck itself into the lane. It just waits and hangs its butt out into the opposing lane. It's looking for traffic. There is none. It might be because it determined the autopilot navigation was complete. We're there! Get out! Oh, don't get out. Okay, it's breakfast time, but I want to review some of our footage. Now, the Insta360 One RS, like a GoPro, can review footage using an app over Wi-Fi, and it actually does so on this new model twice as fast as the predecessor. However, they also sell this quick reader, which is amazing because you can review the footage right over Lightning or USB-C, way faster than dealing with ad hoc Wi-Fi. Let's go check out our footage and get some bagels. Okay, so I've got the app pulled open right now, and if I insert my quick reader, you'll see that in just a couple seconds, all of our footage shows up. I can tap it, and what's really great about this is that I can pretty much instantly preview it. And you can see how quickly and how smoothly the buffer changes. I tap and it plays immediately, which is super cool. Not only that, but you can actually add a bunch of effects as well. You can trim your footage, you can add a freeze frame if there's a still you really like. You can even do some beautification. You can add color filters, you can change your exposure and contrast. I mean, the options are limited. And you can do this all without adjusting the original file. You just export this to your phone and you're set and ready to go. And you unplug it and that's all there is to it. It's super awesome. All right, we've got two more legs. For this one, we're gonna start in a fairly quiet neighborhood and then enter a pretty busy one that gets a lot more complex. Here we go. We don't actually have a stop sign here, but I'm sure it will, and that's fine. Any day now. It's creeping forward, checking for visibility. Yeah, you can go. I'll give it a little tap to encourage it. There you go. Whoa. All right. We've got a car coming towards us. We've got cars on both sides, so it's going to be pretty tight. But the car handles it in spades. I mean, check that out. That's no problem at all. And then it veers to the other side of the 4Runner. That's awesome. Very good, very good. Now there is going to be a stop sign here, and we will turn left. This is an all-way stop, which makes it a little bit easier for the car. And there's no traffic, so come to a complete stop. And go. Very good. Oh, maybe not. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it took that turn a little too wide. It was gonna hit the curb, so I pulled out of there. Let's re-engage it now. Okay. Now we're on a very beautiful street in a neighborhood that I will never be able to afford to live in. Not even with an Insta360 sponsorship. Okay, get ready for the worst leg of the entire drive. This is gonna be brutal, just trust me. There are a lot of roundabouts, there are a lot of cars parked everywhere, there are a lot of pedestrians because we're near a university. It gets hairy, and you will see that as evidenced by the way the car handles. So we actually have the right of way, they have to yield, but the car has come to a complete stop and is very jerkily trying to go forward. Okay, good. We still have the right of way and it should continue forward, which it does. Good job. It's going through a dip pretty quickly, but that's all right. This is a residential roundabout, and so as you can see, it's a very large roundabout. It's going to probably come to a near complete stop. Yeah, it doesn't need to do that. I mean, it's checking for traffic, but I mean, use your eyes, there are none. If someone was behind me, that would be very irritating because that is the complete antithesis to what roundabouts are supposed to achieve. So it does a very wide turn here and kind of hesitates before exiting the roundabout, but that could have been worse. So I guess I'll give it a thumbs up. Okay, we're now entering another roundabout. Again, full stop. We do not need to be doing this. Oh, and it's now deciding to just circumvent the roundabout altogether. So that's actually the wrong way. But that's okay, there's no traffic, so whatever. All right, here's another roundabout. There's a one-way sign. It has to go right. Will it, is the question. Yep. Looks like it. Again, it's coming to a full stop. It should not be doing this. And it's very jerky on the way out, but it does it. Okay. As I mentioned previously, the Insta360 is a fully modular system. So I've got a removable battery. Here is the One RS core. By the way, you can flip the screen in the same direction as the lens, which is pretty cool. And this is the 48 megapixel 4K boost lens. This thing is beautiful. It's what you've been seeing up until this point. But for this last leg, I want to use this. Check out this monster. This is a 5.7K 360 lens, which is pretty amazing. We stick these two pieces together, we put the battery back on, and we now have a 360-degree camera. Let's put it on the car. And now our last leg, we are going to loop around a university with a lot of pedestrians and some construction and a roundabout, and it's going to be a good time. Here we go. Go, go, go. Good. Okay, handled that fairly nicely. Didn't have any traffic coming in the opposite direction, so it was easy, but whoa, what are you doing? Well, I'm gonna have to disengage there. That's not good behavior. Had to handle and granted, that's a pretty aggressive turn, but it was clearly marked on the lines. I don't know why it struggled. Oh, it didn't do it. I think it's because that Toyota was there. Normally it tries to drive us over that curb right there, so that's good. It is yielding, which is good. It's yielding a little more. Oh, see now, okay, good thing they're turning. If they had kept going, that would have been bad. Yielding too long and too slow when it decides to go, which is kind of the history of full self-driving beta thus far. We have a green on, a right on green, okay. Didn't like that at all. Put it back in now. So we had a right green arrow. That turns red because there's a train here. So there's a red arrow where you can't turn right. The car does not interpret that as do not turn right ever. It says, oh, I have a red and I'm going to turn right on red once the intersection's clear. So it tries to drive on top of the train tracks so that it can pull out. That is not what you want to have happening. So it does respect red left-hand arrows, does not respect red right-hand arrows, which is, they really got to fix that soon. That's a major problem. Got a green left arrow and the car proceeds. It was actually first one out of the gate there. Nice work. Okay, that was a very aggressive left-hand turn and it handled it quite nicely. We're now driving up a hill. We are in the middle of the road. So if there was cars right there, that would not be very nice behavior, but it did get over once it saw that 4Runner, so that's good. Okay, we'll be pulling up here to a stop sign and we'll have to turn right. And it's, whoa, whoop, yep, completely ran that stop sign. It did not stop. Yikes, that's not good. Okay. There's another stop sign coming up here. Let's see if it runs this one. No, it's slowing down for this one. Oh yeah, no problem.
I'm surprised you even saw it.
I know. It's a trick you want to see. Yeah, I have a theory. That used to be, years ago, go ahead, come on, go. Years and years and years, it's been changed for a long time. It's been changed for a long time now, probably like 5-6 years. You used to have the right of way there, so that wasn't a stop sign going up the hill. So I'm betting it's pulling from maps data that it thinks there's not a stop sign there, and that's why it's just barreling through. That stop sign, which I don't even think it could probably see, has been there forever, and so it probably knows in map data that that's a 4-way stop. That's my guess. No problem. Maybe I spoke too soon. Nope, there we go. Very good. And now we drive up to the Natural History Museum. Maybe this car will be in a museum someday as the first car that tried to do self-driving, even though we wouldn't achieve it for another 100 years. Just kidding. Let's get back to the studio and we'll actually analyze this drive. So as you saw, the full self-driving beta it's very beta. It does some things very well. It's great with green lights and 4-way stops. It's decent at turning right on red, and it does pretty well yielding to traffic at stop signs. However, it really struggles with crossing multiple lanes of traffic, left-hand turns in intersections, roundabouts, and really just anything remotely out of the ordinary. The Insta360 One RS is super cool, and I'm glad it permitted us to do this video. It gives you 2 cameras for the price of 1, and an upgradable ecosystem, which is, you can do into the future, which I really appreciate. The 4K boost lens's active HDR mode looks great, and the 48 megapixel stills they can't be matched by GoPro and DJI. The 5.7K 360 lens has some very cool features that we did not demo, like the invisible selfie stick and impossible shots. Additionally, the 360-degree camera's horizon lock feature looks incredible on motorcycles. And with the powerful app, you can edit 360 footage in seconds. No more using complicated NLEs or crappy apps. It just works great. Additionally, the built-in flow state stabilization, it is best in class. Yesterday, we actually mounted our camera using a very, let me put it, less than stable mount on top of the car. It was wiggling all over the place, and the footage, well, it just proves how impressive that flow state stabilization is. It's nuts. The One RS also brings a third microphone for active noise canceling to get rid of wind noise and to isolate engine noise and, well, voices when talking. Look, it's not going to be used to record a next Grammy-winning hit, but it does sound leagues better than my GoPros have. This thing is awesome, and it's ready for action. It's waterproof up to 16 feet, and as I mentioned earlier, we just bought 2 more of them with our own money because they look great and they are so much less of a hassle than the GoPros. If you purchase one using my link below, not only will you support the channel, but you'll also get a selfie stick for free at checkout. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay snazzy.